Hey people, welcome to the Run Tester. It's Kieran here. Later today I'm going to be flying out to South Africa to take on one of the original and most iconic road ultras, the 55-mile Comrades Marathon. I did the down run last year and this year I'm going back for the up run. Now, one of the biggest decisions I've had to make is what shoes I use to tackle this incredible challenge. So in this video I'm going to take you through the shoes that made my shortlist with some tips on how to choose shoes for road ultras like this, and also what I've taken into consideration when I've been choosing my options. I'll also reveal the shoe that I'm planning to run the race in, and it might not be the one that you think. So if you don't know, the Comrades Ultra is a 55-mile road ultra through the Valley of 1,000 Hills in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa. It's one of the unique features of the Comrades Marathon is that it alternates between up years and down years. In an up year, the race starts in Durban and finishes in Pietermaritzburg. In a down year, it starts in Pietermaritzburg and finishes in Durban. So we've got an 85.91 kilometre with not far off 1,900 metres of elevation. It starts at 5:30 in Durban and it finishes at Scottsville Racecourse in Pietermaritzburg. Runners have 12 hours to complete the course. Last year I ran the down run in 8 hours 48, earning a Bill Rowan medal. To earn a second one of those, I'll have to run between 7.5 hours and 8 hours 59. This year it's going to be a tough challenge, and picking the right shoes is a really big decision. So let's get stuck into how I've picked the best running shoes for tackling road ultras like the Comrades. So one of the big questions here is going to be, do you go carbon? Now, I won't be running at marathon pace for 9 hours, that's 10-minute mile pace, but there's research to show that some carbon shoes can help with efficiency even at slower paces. So there is a good argument for using a carbon shoe. Now, the thing is, you want a shoe that helps spare tired legs but also protects your feet from the road. So I think it's crucial to choose something that's not too aggressive, not too direct. It needs to be forgiving at slower paces. More importantly, it's going to look after you if and when your form goes ragged and when you're really kind of slogging it out. Now, I want a shoe that's protective cushioning with some energy, good stability, a reliable platform to run off, but also not too heavy. I'm also looking for a mix of reliable comfort and a roomy toe box in terms of that way it feels on the foot. The shoes need to be good on the incline as well. There's lots of hills in this race, starting with a 35-kilometre climb. So I want to avoid shoes where a plate might feel too prominent or not quite right. I think that rules out a lot of the really top-end carbon races. Now, I don't doubt you could race in a HOKA Rocket X2, a Vaporfly 3, and in Saucony Endorphin Elite, and Alphafly maybe, but my gut says this race is going to be all about how you run on the ups. And for that, I don't really see the value in going for carbon or trading comfort for the efficiency you might get from carbon. It's worth saying at this point that I've also not run in the ASICS Novalbast, so those aren't in the running here, though they might have been had I tested them, and I know some people are going to. Now, I've got the shortlist down to a bunch of good candidates, and I think any of these shoes would do a good job out there. Regular viewers won't be surprised to see a lot of Saucony from me here in this list, but let's take a look. So first up, we've got the HOKA Mach 6. Now, this is on the list primarily because I love running in this shoe, and it's also got excellent versatility. It's got a cushioned but responsive ride with a bit of cushioning, and it's very happy clipping along at easier paces. There's a decent disappearing fit, maybe just about enough room to cope with those long hours and long miles on feet, though in all honesty, they're perhaps a little more snug here than I'd really like. Now, this is a shoe that moves with agility and freedom, and it's got a reliable platform. It's great on hills, up and down both. I find this a really easy shoe to run in and forget it's on my feet. And there's a lot to be said for sticking with that if you're looking at ultras, especially when you're tackling those longer time on feet, longer distances. Then we have the Saucony Ride 17. I'm a big fan of the easy cushion, no nonsense reliability of the Ride 17. There's excellent disappearing comfort and it offers a really good ride that balances cushioned landings with a rolling response and some spring and energy, though it's not as lively as a Speed 4 or a Mach 6. But for me, it feels natural, very easy to run in. It's not effortless, it's not going to give you the efficiency gains you might get from a carbon shoe, but it's just very easy to roll around in, whether you're moving slow and easy or pushing things slightly more up tempo. It copes with my marathon pace miles, and it's protective enough for easy recovery plods too. Granted, it's a bit heavier than some of the shoes on this list as well, but it will definitely take the impact edge off the road deep into your 8th hour of running. Next up, we've got the ASICS Novalbast 4. If, like me, you're a fan of firmer ride, more responsive running shoes, then the Novalbast 4 is a clear improvement over the past gen Novalbast. The midsole tweaks are a net positive, bringing some additional immediacy and response into each step with this shoe. As a result, the shoe now has much more versatility without sacrificing too much of the soft cushion protection that's important for an ultra. And for that reason, I think it has the right balance for a long distance road ultra shoe. There's a decent amount of wiggle room in the toe box here, which is a big plus as well, but you'll have to get on well with oversized maximal shoes that offer a softer edge. There is a big stack here, but I find them a little bit clomping. But this is another shoe I think has the range to cope with a race like the Comrades, and definitely won't leave you wanting when it comes to protection from the road pounding later on. Then we've got the Brooks Ghost Max. Now, I'm normally not the biggest fan of big, heavier, max pillowy shoes that put a lot of shoe on the foot. I tend to reach for something more cushioned but more sprightly. But in testing, I've been really impressed with the Ghost Max. The way I'd sum it up is reliable, steady comfort. That is great for ultra. But for me, these get very close to shoes like the ASICS Gel Nimbus 25 and the New Balance 1080 V13 for that type of plush comfort with a cushioned ride, softer edge. The Brooks Ghost Max are 100% the kind of shoe I can happily use to eat long runs and cover easy low heart rate miles. Now, despite that softer edge, they're not devoid of response and they're not too laboured and sinking as a result. If I were choosing these for the Comrades, it'd definitely be with the intent of running slow and cautious on this race. These would be good kind of beat the cut-off banker shoes. Because if you want guaranteed protection for longer time on feet, the Ghost Max definitely offers that. So next on that shortlist is the On Cloudeclipse. Now, I really enjoy the On Cloudeclipse. It offers good stepping comfort, it's nicely roomy, and it feels light on the foot with that all-important disappearing feel that I'm looking for. I found it cushioned and comfortable, and the domino effect helium foam clouds work nicely here to provide a ride that's protected but doesn't sink too much. It kind of bites back at the right time, and there's good roll through from the rocker, though it's definitely a firmer and more responsive sort of end shoe than most of the shoes on the list here. For a max stack shoe, it's surprisingly nippy and versatile though. It's almost got that kind of easy rolling rockered ride that the Monster had, the original Monster, but with some more of the compact precision and agility the Cloud Surfer 7. It's smooth, energetic, it's a lot of fun, and it's an easy shoe to run long miles in. Now here's one that might surprise you that it's on the shortlist and not the winner. This is the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4. The nylon plated Endorphin Speed 4 is a very trusted friend of mine. They offer that all important versatility by the bucket load. They're cushioned and protective, light and springy, got a great base to run off with reliable stability, comfy roomy uppers, good locked in fit. No threat of bashed toenails or blisters from this shoe. I know some people find they have an upper distance limit for running in this kind of Speed 4, but I find them balanced enough to go long, almost up to any distance. For me, the Speed 4 is a reliable workhorse of a shoe that can also turn a bit thoroughbred when you need it. There's a protected clip along at slower places, but speed if you want it. Now, I'm not likely to need that speed, but I also know they cope well on the ups and downs. So these were my preferred option, and they're in the suitcase as a backup. But, and there is a big but, I'm going to reveal why I'm not running in this shoe along with my winning shoe right now. So drum roll and perhaps a surprise, the winner is the On Cloud Monster Hyper. This is a shoe I'm going to run in. Now I'm surprised as anyone that I've finally settled on the On Cloud Monster Hyper to race the Comrades Marathon 2024. In our review I gave this shoe a hard pass. Much of that was because of the price tag. I just don't really like the idea of paying £200 plus for a daily trainer. So what's changed my mind other than that? Well, at the end of my last 30-mile training run a week or so back, I developed a grumble on my Achilles. In the final 2 miles, I ran through that grumble as I believed it had been caused by sort of pressure of a heel collar digging in rather than being a tweak to the Achilles. I figured it might just be a bruise, and it's a really weird one. I don't feel anything when I'm walking around in socks or barefoot, but when I put on many of the shoes on my shortlist, I feel the pressure and it now hurts to even run or walk in those shoes. Even my beloved Speed 4s don't feel 100% comfortable. The only shoe I've put on that doesn't aggravate it are the On Cloud Monster Hyper, so that immediately sets them apart. But it does have some good ultra credentials too. It's larger, bulkier and more shoe than the Speed 4 or the Ride 16, but it's lighter than it looks, and there's quite good disappearing comfort on the foot. It's largely unfussy, it's an easy shoe to lace up and run with a really, really generous roomy toe box. Loads of clearance lengthwise and across the top, and then there's a massive stack of cushioning that soaks up the road really well. A decent stability to the platform as well. There's some energy to this ride also, and a good amount of spring from this kind of P-back wedge that you get. There's not as much kind of snappy roll or instant response as you might have got from a Cloudeclipse. The landings are softer than a firm rockered ride of the original Monster, but there's a softness here that's not too squidgy and ponderous. Overall, I find them like a really happy cruising shoe with a little bit of energy. They combine good cushion protection. You get none of the road coming up through in the shoe on longer runs. but the big wide platform also has stability. I'd basically describe these as having cradled, reliable landings with some liveliness underfoot that's not overly aggressive. And so right now, as I'm recording this, my Comrades Marathon 2024 race shoe is the On Cloud Monster Hyper. So the Speed 4, as I said, are going into my suitcase, and I reserve the right to make a last-minute knee-jerk change out on the morning of race day. So there you have it, that's my list of the shoes I consider for the Comrades Marathon. All shoes I think with good potential for long road ultras. I hope you found it enlightening. If you're running the Comrades yourself, hit me up in the comments with the shoes you've chosen for the job. Come and say hello if you see me out there. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe and ring that bell for more content that comes on the Run Testers. And if you're interested in the shoes that I looked at for the down run, that video is here. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and we hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers. Happy running, people.